Hi, friends, it's Helena, and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives News. If you've been following this journey with me, then you already know. We've seen love, heartbreak, resilience, and betrayal unfold before our very eyes. But what's happening now, it's no longer just a show, it's a reckoning. So before we dive into what might be one of the most revealing, emotional, and truth telling deep dives we've ever done, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like. If you care about real stories being told, and share your thoughts in the comments, because trust me, I read them all, and your voice matters more than ever. Now, let me just ask this. Have you ever felt like something was being scrubbed clean right in front of you? Like someone was trying to rewrite history as if the pain never happened? That's what it feels like right now in the Sister Wives universe. The silence is loud. The faces are disappearing. And the truth? Well, it's being dodged, blocked, and wrapped up in a carefully curated narrative, one that doesn't seem to include Meri anymore. In this video, we're going to talk about Meri's quiet but devastating final goodbye, her vanishing from the family brand like she never even existed. We're going to break down that Tamron Hall interview that shook the fandom, the one where the questions we all needed answers to were finally asked, and the fallout that followed. And of course, we're going to look at the unraveling of the Brown family, what's real, what's performative, and who is really controlling the story behind the scenes. Because here's the thing, this isn't just drama. This is about power, about asterisk control asterisk, about how women like Meri, Christine, and Janelle have been silenced, minimized, and made to feel unsafe for speaking out. This isn't just a TLC storyline, it's a mirror. And when you start paying attention to the patterns, the gaslighting, the favoritism, the sudden erasures, you start realizing that what's happening on screen might be the sanitized version of something much darker underneath. So buckle up, because what we're about to uncover goes deeper than just family drama. This is about the women who are finally breaking free, the voices that refuse to be blocked, and the secrets that TLC didn't want us to see. Let's talk about Meri. Because if there's one story that's been haunting fans the most, one that feels unfinished, raw, and unfair, it's hers. Meri Brown didn't just walk away quietly. She was scrubbed, blocked, silenced. And the way it happened? It cut deep, not just for her, but for everyone who's watched this woman hang on, hope against hope, and try to rebuild herself inside a marriage and a family that kept leaving her in emotional isolation. Meri was the first wife, the one who built the foundation. When Sister Wives began, she wasn't just Kody's partner, she was the woman who helped create the vision. The plural family dream? That was as much hers as it was his. And yet, over the years, we watched her spirit get chipped away. And let's not pretend it was subtle. It was painful, open, sometimes humiliating. What began as a strong union slowly became a cold war of avoidance and passive aggression. Kody, emotionally checked out. Meri, still showing up, still hoping, still waiting for something that was clearly never going to return. And then the catfishing scandal. That moment, back in 2015, was framed like a betrayal. But fans with even a shred of empathy saw what it really was, a woman starving for connection. A woman so emotionally abandoned that even a stranger behind a screen felt more comforting than the man she had legally divorced for the sake of another wife's kids. Let that sink in. She gave up her legal status to help the family, and what did she get in return? Suspicion, mockery, coldness. And then came the shame, the public apology, the forced narrative. But what we never really got? A real reckoning. A conversation about why she was so alone to begin with. Because that would have meant holding someone accountable. And we all know who TLC avoids questioning. And after years of hanging on, of being treated like an outsider in the very family she helped create, Meri finally reached her breaking point. But here's what makes it all worse. Her goodbye wasn't a grand moment. There was no celebration of her sacrifices, no reflection on her story arc, no closure. Just gone. One day she was there, holding on through it all. The next, scrubbed clean from the family's page, her face deleted. Her presence erased like it was inconvenient to the narrative. No public acknowledgement, no tribute, no thank you. Fans noticed. The comment sections exploded. People were angry, heartbroken, and honestly, a little haunted because it felt personal. It felt like watching someone survive years of quiet suffering, only to be written out of history by the very people who benefited from her loyalty. And let's call it what it is: control, image control, narrative control. Mary's story was getting in the way, so instead of honoring her journey, they just blocked it. Like it never happened. But we remember, and we're not going to let it be erased. Now, let's get into what I'm calling Tamron Hall's mic drop moment. Because that interview with Christine and Janelle, whew, it wasn't just a sit down, it was a truth shakeup. The kind of conversation that peels back the curtain TLC has been so carefully holding shut. And let me just say, Tamron didn't come to play. She came with the questions fans have been screaming into their TVs for years. She asked what needed to be asked, and she did it with intention. But let's talk about what actually happened in that interview. Tamron looked Christine and Janelle in the eye and basically said, "How did this go on for so long? How did you stay in something that made you feel small, that made you feel unloved?" She pushed gently but firmly on the uncomfortable stuff, the stuff that usually gets edited out or sugar-coated. She asked about the emotional abandonment, the jealousy, the control dynamics. And you could feel the tension in the room, especially with Janelle, who looked visibly caught off guard at times. And yet, Tamron didn't say anything cruel. She wasn't attacking. She was clarifying. She was giving voice to what so many fans have been trying to say, that what we saw on camera wasn't always what was going on. That behind the family unity was a lot of pain, silence, and one man's tight grip on the narrative. But here's where things got messy. Tamron caught heat. Some fans, and apparently some behind the scenes, felt like she went too hard, like she made the wives uncomfortable. But why is that the issue? Why is discomfort more offensive than the years of emotional erasure these women endured? And that's when Kristen Decker, Christine's own aunt, came in with a major clapback. She took to Facebook, and y'all, she went off. She defended Tamron's questions. She said what a lot of us were thinking, that these conversations are necessary, that discomfort is part of waking up from control, that Christine and Janelle deserve to be challenged with love, not coddled by silence. Kristen's post wasn't just a defense of a journalist, it was a bigger message about autonomy, about reclaiming your story, about not letting years of being scrubbed and edited for TLC's perfect image silence the real truth. Because that's what this tension is really about: truth versus narrative, control versus clarity. Tamron stepped in and cracked the surface, and even if it made people squirm, it was time. We're not here for the fairy tale. We're here for the truth. And now, let's talk about the silence. Because sometimes what's not said is louder than anything on camera. Kody and Robyn's silence in the aftermath of this entire unraveling? It speaks volumes. It's not just awkward, it's strategic, it's calculated. It's the kind of silence that protects power. And fans, we see it. Let's rewind a bit. Robyn has always been positioned as the outsider, the victim, the one who just wanted peace and harmony. That's the narrative TLC pushed hard, season after season. Remember how every conflict was somehow so hard for Robyn, even when it wasn't about her? But if we look closer, especially now with hindsight, we start to realize something deeper. Robyn wasn't just caught in the middle. She was benefiting from the chaos, from the favoritism, from the silence. And Kody? He's always been quick to speak when he wants to defend himself, when he wants to call Christine a liar or throw Meri under the bus. But when it came time to acknowledge Meri's departure, really acknowledge it with the weight and gravity it deserved, he disappeared. No follow-up interview, no heartfelt goodbye. Not even a real statement. Just gone. It's like Meri was scrubbed not only from the family's social media, but from Kody's emotional conscience entirely. And Robyn? Not a single word about it, not one. This silence isn't just absence. It's control. It's about shaping the narrative without having to say anything at all. It's emotional manipulation 101. Let the others fall apart publicly while you sit back, clean, untouched, and protected by the edit. But fans aren't buying it anymore. We've watched too long. We've seen the patterns. Cody's constant deflection, his shifting of blame, his refusal to hold emotional space for the women he claimed to love. Robyn's quiet tears while simultaneously being the only one whose relationship remained fully intact. That's not just coincidence. That's favoritism. That's imbalance. And it's that imbalance that fractured this family. It wasn't just the drama, it was the consistent emotional neglect, the playing of favorites, the way Kody made it clear over and over again that Robyn was the wife who mattered. The others, they were extras in his version of the story, disposable when they stopped playing along. So when Kody and Robyn stay silent now, it's not just rude, it's revealing. It's the final confirmation of what so many fans have long suspected, that this wasn't a family falling apart. It was a family being slowly erased by one man's refusal to share love equally and one woman's quiet willingness to accept that crown. Christine and Janelle walking away wasn't just reality TV drama. It was a revolution unfolding right in front of our eyes. And honestly, I get emotional even thinking about it because for so many of us watching from home, their decisions hit a nerve deep down. This wasn't just about leaving Kody. This was about reclaiming worth, reclaiming voice, reclaiming asterisk self. And for women who have felt silenced, overlooked, or stuck in loyalty to people who don't see them, this was everything. I remember watching the moment Christine finally said, "I'm done." It wasn't loud, it wasn't angry, it was quiet, resolute, true. After years of being dismissed, of having her concerns minimized, she took a breath and chose herself. And not just for her own peace, but for her daughter, for her future, for her sanity. That moment wasn't just TV gold. It was a wake up call to every woman who's ever felt trapped in someone else's story. And then came Janelle. Oh, Janelle, the calm one, the logical one, the one who tried so hard to keep the peace. For years, she stayed, even when she disagreed with the way things were going. But slowly, steadily, she found her voice. She started questioning Cody's choices, started refusing to be told how to feel or what to do. And when she finally said she was choosing to separate, it was like a dam broke, not just for her, but for so many of us watching. We were cheering, crying, exhaling, because this wasn't just two women leaving a man. This was two women standing in their truth after decades of conditioning. In a faith based community where obedience and sacrifice are often praised above personal fulfillment, Christine and Janelle broke the mold. They didn't just walk away, they walked toward something better, toward freedom, toward wholeness. And I know I'm not alone when I say they gave just courage. They gave women stuck in controlling relationships permission to imagine something different, something more. Watching them build new lives, independent, joyful, real, has been one of the most healing parts of this entire journey. Because Sister Wives was never really about polygamy, it was about power. And now, we're seeing what happens when that power shifts. When the women stop waiting for love to be handed to them and instead choose to love themselves first. The emotional aftermath of everything that's unfolded on Sister Wives. Whew, you guys, it's been a lot. I've been reading your comments, scrolling through the Facebook groups, and watching how people are reacting on YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, you name it. And there's one word I keep seeing over and over again: grief. Not just sadness, not just shock. Grief. Like fans are actually mourning the loss of the original family we all invested so much time and heart into. And I get it. I feel it too. This wasn't just a TV show for so many of us. It was a window into a world that felt so raw and complex and real. We watched birthdays, weddings, messy fights, and quiet moments of hope. We saw kids grow up, relationships fall apart, and people desperately trying to make something broken look whole. It's heartbreaking to watch it unravel, especially knowing that behind the scenes, real people were hurting, being dismissed, being controlled, being scrubbed from the story, but at the same time, there's another feeling that's growing louder and louder among fans: relief. Because even though the family we knew is gone, there's a sense that something better is finally rising from the wreckage. We're seeing strength, freedom, women like Christine, Janelle, and even Meri taking back their narratives. And that's worth celebrating. I've had nights where I sat with tears in my eyes after an episode, feeling that mix of heartbreak and hope. It's personal for me too. As someone who runs this channel, TLC's Sister Wives News, and talks to you guys every day, I see how deeply this show has touched our lives. And it makes me ask, what does it say about us that we rooted so hard for this family to stay together, even when it was clearly tearing people apart? And what does it mean now that we're learning to root for healing instead? So I want to ask you, my friends, how are you feeling watching this transformation? Are you mourning the past? Celebrating the freedom? Maybe both? Let me know in the comments. Let's process this together, because this journey, it's changed us all, and here we are, full circle. After everything, the lies, the silencing, the strategic edits, the social media scrubbing, the interviews that never happened, and the ones that hit way too hard, the truth still found a way to break through. It couldn't be blocked. Not by production, not by Kody, not even by the years of control and manipulation that kept these women in emotional lockdown for so long. Because truth, it always finds the cracks. And once Christine, then Janelle, and finally Meri stepped through those cracks, the whole illusion crumbled. And what we're left with isn't just the end of a TV family, it's a revelation about autonomy, about courage, about the slow, painful journey toward reclaiming your voice when it's been buried for decades under someone else's narrative. I think the biggest lesson for all of us watching has been this: your voice matters, your story matters. Whether you're Christine, finally saying enough, or Janelle learning to live on her own terms, or Meri still piecing together her next chapter after being blocked and erased, there is power in truth. And no matter how carefully someone tries to control the script, the real story always finds its way out. So let's keep that conversation going. Let's keep rooting for these women, not because they're perfect, but because they dared to be honest in a world that wanted them quiet. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to TLC's Sister Wives News. If you haven't already, let's keep showing up for the truth, for each other, and for every woman trying to find her way back to her voice. I'm Helena, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep the truth alive.